Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everybody. Today we are going to show you how to make secondary impression for the maxillary and mandibular complete denture patient. If you can still remember, the last stage was the previous stage, was the primary impression for the maxilla and the mandible, which was made in compound impression material. So this is the result of the impression. We've got here a primary cast, poured in stone, and the base in plaster of Paris. So we have all these denture bearing area here be registered. The tuberosity, the hamular notch, the ridges, and over here up to the hamular notch. You can see here too that the cast is being properly trimmed. The sides are smooth, the land areas are being trimmed down and smoothened. The base is also straight and is parallel or horizontal, and usually the base is sort of parallel to the ridge. The thickness of the base is also important. It is roughly about 1.5 to 2 millimeters in thickness. If you make it too thin, then the model or the cast can break. Or if you make it too thick, you find that it's going to be difficult to mount these models onto the articulator. The same goes to the mandibular cast. On this cast, special trays has been constructed. In this case, it is a close-fitting special tray. What's important about this special tray is it has to be rigid. The edges has to be rounded and no sharp spicules on the fitting surfaces. Another important factor is the handle. The handle has to be placed right in the middle of the tray, and it should not cause any problem with the movement of the lips, because this is very important over here. Another important thing is that the extension of the tray. It has to cover from the hamular notch here, the vibrating line up to this hamular notch over here. And the sulci on the buccal, labial, and over to this side, it has to be short about 2 millimeters, because later on you're going to have to mold using the green stick. But just in case the extension is long, then you can trim and make it slightly short. So this you have to check in the mouth later on. The same goes for the mandible. To make a secondary impression, we need to lay out the instrument and the materials. Here I want to show you things that we need to do to lay out for the secondary impression stage. Of course, you need the special trays. You need the straight handpiece and the burr, because you may need to trim the tray. Then you need the green stick to do the boulder molding. Then you need the Bunsen burner. You also need some hot water, which we have not put inside here yet. The hot water over here. Then the materials impression material that we're going to use is the zinc oxide impression material. Of course, you need the spatula and the glass slab for you to mix the material. Other things like Vaseline, wax knife, cutter, you need the electron cover, indial utensil, and of course the lighter to light up your Bunsen burner. We have just checked the extension and the fitting of the special tray on the casts. Now we're going to check in the mouth. But before you can even check, put the trays in the mouth, you have to check first the oral tissues. If there is any pathology, any ulcers or redness, so we have to check first to make sure that the tissue is healthy. Angkat lidah. Okay. So now I'm satisfied that the tissues are healthy. Now I'm going to place the maxillary special tray in the mouth here, and we check for the extension of the tray. To make sure that it covers up to the femoral notches, and then the labial frenum, you can see here that it's overextended. Like I said before, we have to make sure that it's 2 millimeters short of the sulci. So we need to do some adjustment here. We need to trim down the tray. And another part that we need to check is the handle. Make sure that the handle does not interfere with the leg movement. Okay, so that's for the maxillary tray. Now we're going to check the mandibular tray. The same thing. Make sure that the tray extend up to the retromolar pad area on both sides. You must make sure that the tray covers the buccal shelf, labially here, and also on this side. Auntie, angkat lidah, auntie. Okay. You can see here also that the tray is overextended on the lingual. Angkat lidah, auntie. So we need to do some adjustment on this side, lingually. Also, the handle, you can see that the handle is properly placed here in the center, and it's not interfering with the mandibular, the lip movement. When we checked the extension of the mandibular and the maxillary trays in the mouth, we noticed that there were some overextension areas. So I've already outlined roughly the overextension areas over here on the maxillary and the mandibular trays. So now I'm going to trim accordingly. Make sure that when you trim, you round off the border. The same for the lower, for the mandibular tray. Okay, do that, the same thing. And after that, you put back the tray in the mouth and check further. So now the tray has been trimmed accordingly, and you see that there is space between the sulcus and the border of the tray. We've also done some modification to the overextended lingual flange. So, angkat lidah nanti. Yeah. So you can see here now that the tray is just sitting nicely here. It's not only floating. Now we can start with the border molding. Once we are happy with the extensions of the special trays, we can start with our border molding. So before you want to put your softened green stick onto the border of your special tray, you must make sure that it's dry. Otherwise, this green stick will not stick to your trays. So we will start now by softening the green stick in this manner. Don't put it direct on the flame, but then you roll the green stick this way. And then you can see the material going down. You can put it onto the edge of the labial section of your maxillary special tray. Now, with the green stick at the edge of the tray, you put now in the warm water to temper it so that it's not too hot and the softness is even all throughout. And then later on, you put inside the patient's mouth. Okay, put in the patient's mouth, lift up the lid, and then I'm going to ask the patient to mold herself. Auntie, muncungkan mula. Put your lip together. Ni, put, say u, sama. U, okay. Okay. Just in case the patient cannot follow your instruction, what you can do is you can lift the patient's lip up and down to mold the labial sulcus. But it would be ideal if the patient can follow instruction and the patient do the molding herself. So the appearance of the molded green stick should be like this. It's matte finish, and then he has already also we have registered the labial frenum. Later on, we're going to continue on this part, and then the distal buccal sulcus up to the hamellar notch. Then we do on this side, and then lastly we'll do the post-dam area. So again, before you start border molding on the buccal sulcus and the distal buccal region here, you must also again dry the tray. Then we soften the green stick. Okay, soften it some more until it's about to drop this way, and then place it onto the buccal sulcus and continue up to the hamellar notch area here. We have the old green stick and the new one, and we have to soften that junction there. And then after this, we put in the warm water to temper the green stick. Okay, and straight into the patient's mouth. Tutup sikit mulut auntie, tutup sikit. Tutup sikit close your mouth a bit auntie. Yeah. Put in. Okay, not so hot, eh? Okay, now you ask the patient to open the mouth wide. When you first put it in, don't ask the patient to open the mouth too wide, because it's difficult to put in the tray. Then once the tray is inside the mouth, then you ask the patient to open the mouth wide. Okay, say, kata E nanti, E, 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 E. Okay, buka mulut luas. Okay, gerak dagu kiri kanan, move your jaw. Okay, your left and right. Alright. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's molded. So you can see here the green stick that has been molded over here, and the distal buccal sulcus. We have done on the other side. Now the last part is to do the post-dam area. For the post-dam, the same thing. Dry the tray and the green stick over that side, and then soften the green stick. So for the post-dam area, we put the green stick on the tray, not at the edge like the rest. We put at the edge, but for the post-dam, we put on the maxillary tray because we want to compress the tissue. Okay, now it's ready. Place it over on the tray and place it over from the Hamler notch to the Hamler notch on this side. Soften the two joints, the joints of the old green stick and the new green stick. Then put in warm water to temper it, and then place in the patient's mouth. Yes. Now, okay. Now we can place it in the patient's mouth and just press it home. So when you do boulder molding, the objective is to achieve peripheral seal. So meaning that it's not only the depth of the sulcus is important, but also the width of the sulcus must be taken into consideration too. So you can see here now, you have achieved your peripheral seal because the tray is stuck in the mouth. Try and remove it, it's resistance, and if you push it this way, it's also not coming out, showing that your post-dam area is well compressed, well registered. So the only way for taking out the tray is to relieve, break the seal, then only the tray can come out. Now we move on with the mandibular arch. I've placed the green stick on the lingual portion of the mandibular tray, and now I'm putting it inside the mouth, and I'm asking the patient to lift up the tongue. Auntie, angkat lidah. Okay, ke depan, delay, depan lidah, forward, front, up. Okay, up. Okay, move your tongue left and right. Okay, yes. And then we continue on with the distal lingual region. Alright. So this area here is the malahayat muscles. Okay. So we continue now with the lingual section of the green stick here, and I've placed it up to the retromolar pad. Okay, we place inside the patient's mouth. Okay, and now I'm going to ask the patient to open the mouth wide. Okay, close, auntie, close. Now I'm going to put my finger onto the patient's tongue. Okay, auntie sekarang tolak jari saya. Push my finger. Push some more. Push some more. Okay, this is to mold the malahayat muscle. Okay. Alright. Now we continue with the retromolar pad and the buccal shaft area. Put in the patient's mouth, this, and ask the patient to buka luas, aunty. Buka luas. Sekarang aunty tutup mulut, tutup. Close your mouth. I push down. Close your mouth and push down. This is to mold the distal buccal region of the mandibular arch for the masseter muscles. Okay, so you can see here relaxation of the retromolar pad, then the masseter muscle over here, and then the buccal shaft region over this side. Now we have completed border molding for the maxillary and the mandibular arches. For this extra green stick that goes inside the tray, we need to remove this first before you take the final impression. But for the retromolar pad, just leave it there because we actually want to compress those areas, so just leave it there. As for the upper, the same thing, we need to remove all those that goes inside here. This is okay, and also a little bit over here. But the post dam, we leave it there. The green stick, we have to leave it there because actually we want to compress the post dam area. I've just removed all the excess green stick that overflow into this region here for the mandibular tray. Over here too, I've just removed over here, and also there was a bit of excess here, and I've removed on this part and also on this area. So before we want to take the secondary impression using the zinc oxygenol impression material, we must apply Vaseline on the patient's lip, the angle of the mouth, like this. This is for easy cleaning after you have taken the final or the secondary impression. The impression material to be used for this case is the zinc oxide eugenol impression paste, and we're going to start with the lower, with the mandibular arch first. So for this material, dispensing of the material, it has to be the same length, okay, and it depends on the how big the mandibular arch is. So we can see here it's just roughly about 3 inches of each. So now we're going to mix, okay. Okay, see the way the material is being mixed. Make sure when you mix, the material is homogeneously homogeneous. Okay. Don't take so much of time mixing because then it will reduce your working time, and it's going to be difficult for you to mold the sulcus. Okay, now we can take put on the spatula here, okay, and then place it onto the tray this way. Put it from one corner here, and then spread it out. Okay, spread it out this way because you don't want to incorporate any air bubbles. Spread it out. Okay. Okay. And then you place it. Make sure you don't cover the borders because you want to put, you know exactly where to put in the mouth. And now can place it in the mouth. Tutup sikit mulut, close about mouth a bit. Yeah, okay. Now then we can open wide. Okay. Now press it home. Lift the patient's cheek. Okay. Lift the patient's cheek here. And press it home. Make sure you see the material flowing down here. Okay. Okay, can see the material flowing there. Can see the material flowing over this side. Okay. Then can ask the patient to do the movement. Okay, delay lidah nanti. Stick out your tongue. Put your tongue out some more. Okay. Move your tongue left and right. Okay, move your tongue left and right. Alright. Okay, some more forward. Okay, up. Put your tongue up. Okay. Okay, some more. Okay. Alright. Okay. Now close your mouth, and then I'm going to push it down. Okay. To mold the masseter muscle here. Open wide. Open wide. Now. Okay. Now I'm going to put my finger on the patient's tongue. Okay. Push my finger, auntie. Push my finger. Push my finger. Okay. This is to contract the malar hiatus muscle. And then you got to wait until material sets. So this is the impression been taken out from the mouth, and this is how it looks like. We're going to start now with the maxillary impression. So the same thing, the material will be of the same length, and we're going to mix it now. Yeah, can start mixing. So when you take impression for the maxilla, when you put in the tray, don't ask the patient to open the mouth wide, too wide. One thing is difficult to put in the tray, and another thing is you will not be able to register the distal buccal sulcus properly, because when you open the mouth wide, the coronoid process will come down by the maxillary tuberosity, so you find that area will be sort of obliterated. It's only when you put the tray fully home, then you can ask the patient to open the mouth wide. So now the mix is homogeneous. Now the same thing, when you put inside, you spread it out this way, because you want to reduce bubbles. Okay, spread it out this way. It's becoming very not so flowy now, so we have to work fast. Yeah, this way. Okay, now, and then lift up and then push the tray home this way. You can see there the material flowing. You can see here the material flowing out of the sulcus here. This way as well. You can see. Yeah. Press home this way. You can see the material flowing on the post-dent area. Okay. Now you can ask the patient to do the movement. Kata nanti. Okay. 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 Open wide. Okay. Move your jaw left and right. Move your jaw left and right. Okay, and then move your jaw left and right. Okay. Okay. Like I was saying just now, if the patient cannot do the mandibular movement, you can the maxillary movement, the lips movement, then you can mold it this way. Okay, mold it this way. All right. Okay, and then make sure you press same pressure. Yeah. Until the material sets. Now the material has set, so we're going to remove the impression from the patient's mouth, and you find that if you have a good peripheral seal, it's so difficult to remove the tray from the mouth. So what you need to do is you need to relieve and then pull it out this way, and this is the result of the impression. So you can see here you have registered the labial, frenum, the sulcus, the buccal area, the distal buccal region, the hammer notch, then also the post-dam area over this side. And you can see the details of the rugae as well. The impressions were soaked in perform for already 10 minutes. So we need to remove it now. From the solution. And after this, I'm going to show you beading and boxing. After removing from the perform solution, the impression has to be dried first, okay, before you start doing the beading and boxing. So dry the surface of the impression. And then you need to draw a line on the surface of the buccal surface of the impression for the maxillary impression. Draw about 3 to 4 millimeters below the sulcus depth. So okay, this way. And then using the beading wax, you have two types of wax here. You have the beading wax and you have the boxing wax. So use this beading wax and then bead following the line you've drawn just now. Okay. If it's lower, it's okay because you can always trim the model. Don't make it shorter. Don't make it 2 millimeters. Make it 3 or more millimeters below the sulcus depth. Okay. And when you come to the post-dam area, make it the same level. Like that. And continue on this side. Okay, this way. And of course, to secure the beading wax onto the impression, you need to use the wax knife, warm up the wax knife, and just do it this way. And you continue on until you get all round, yeah, right?
No.
So I've done the beading and boxing for the upper. It's completed here, and also for the, for the maxillary cast, for the mandibular impression, I've done the beading. And why you have to bead is because you want to preserve the impression, especially at the borders. Not only the depth, but also the thickness. So over the lingual here too, I've covered this part. And then, after you have done that, you need to do the boxing. soften the wax a little bit and then shape it, and the same like the maxillary impression. Okay, this way, and secure it. Then secure it. Then you can then pour stone into the maxillary secondary impression.